topic is concussions and contact sports, and they're trying to do away with contact sports in the U.S. So basically, they're trying to pussify America's youth.
That is Merkel's opinion.
It's a fine line between pussify and protect.
Okay, I grew up on a farm. We played baseball with rocks and sawmill slabs.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that it was smart. Doesn't mean that it was smart.
And people, we have survived. My mom drove me home from the hospital sitting in her lap in the front seat of a car with no seatbelt. So we shouldn't have those type of protections?
I'm all for it.
You're for the protections?
No. We're getting rid of them.
Natural selection, sorting everything out on its own. I get that.
That's true. And that would... Hey, I've already spoke.
Yeah.
So what?
We're waiting on you.
So either way.
Freaking Irish, he's confused because I don't know what's wrong with that, you know?
So I suppose coming from a medical background, obviously there's a lot of injuries that affect you later in life as opposed to more of a current situation. You know, a couple bumps in the head now could result in dementia, 50 years from now.
Well, and we have more knowledge of that.
Right. Well, that's also the thing. People are living longer now, I think, so they see effects of stuff that happens when you're younger into a much older age, to where years ago people weren't living to their 70s to be their norm. You know what I mean? So now people are in their 70s and 80s, and they're having more and more types of problems. Whether it's directly related to that or not, I mean, who knows how many bumps an 80-year-old took on his head when he was 10. I'm sure a lot. But that being said, I have to kind of agree with Merkel. There's a certain point in time where you can't protect everybody from everything.
There's an inherent risk.
Right. There's an inherent risk with everything. Whether football is directly related to toughening up people, I don't know. I guess there's other ways to toughen up people, but
there is a better caution for it across the board. I mean, every sports official takes a class, every coach takes a class.
The equipment's better.
Yeah, the equipment's going through.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to realize that when they first started football, when Chick Harley was playing for Ohio State, right before they built Ohio Stadium, it was a piece of leather.
Right.
And that was it. And that was just to keep your brains inside if you crushed your head open.
Now, the question is, are we hitting harder? Are contact sports more violent now than what they used to be?
I'll say. Also, I mean, I guess at a certain point, I'll say so. I mean, people of younger age are a lot.
We're developing faster.
They are, right? Yeah. I mean, kids. Well, back in the day, weren't as well developed. Even getting in the weight room is young.
My problem is not with college kids and on up who do the contact sports, but everybody. There's a reason that kids aren't out on their own. They don't have all the information. They don't make the best decisions. So as a parent, is it reasonable to let someone go out there and beat the hell out of themselves and get concussions when they're 12 years old? 12-year-old thinks so, but
have to have responsibility for the kids,
right? Because they can't have it for themselves. They can't take it for themselves yet.
But is it too much? I mean, do we take away the sports and say no, that's not safe? And we pat him on the butt, and we don't ever let him experience a hit. I mean, my God, you're bound to get hurt at some point. So, I mean, we take every protection we can. Everybody's trained. Everybody wears the proper equipment, or they're supposed to. And, I mean, I know as a soccer official, and I think the producer would agree that he's a soccer official, that we go out, we check it, and we look. It doesn't mean that it can't happen, but do we sacrifice all the sports and just say, you know what, they're too dangerous?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not on that side of it. But I think we need to continue to try to make as many improvements and make it as safe as possible. But especially, and maybe there's a point. I don't know about some of the tackle or the hardcore violence when you're that age and you're going through growth and.
I like how the Buddhist brings up violence in sports.
Well, and here's another thing to think about on this part, though. When our parents were children, when a kid broke his arm, and it happened all the freaking time.
Right.
A kid fell out of a tree, broke his arm. People were upset for the parents, because the parents now had to take off work to deal with this. Now, the parents are being investigated because your kid broke his arm.
You're right.
Children's Services are contacted because of an accident. Things that were accidents. We need to investigate violence against children, but if it happened on a football field, it's probably not a good idea to call the Children's Services on the parent.
Well, they don't always get called for that, and I'm not. This pendulum swung too far in the other direction on that too, and hopefully it'll get back more. I'm a centrist on a good bit of things. Well, some things I'm pretty far to the left, but a lot of things, I try to be reasonable, logical, and I don't have a set stance just because of my liberal leanings.
I mean, you're never going to be able to prevent everything when the sport is people tackling each other.
Right.
It's like wrestling. I mean, the sport is literally to wrestle. There's always a side effect, if you will, of the dangers of the broken arm, of the cracked skull, and that.
I mean, if we try to prevent everything, we'd be wearing helmets, driving cars.
Well, and you know what?
Hey, don't say that too freaking loud.
And I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, Josh, you can obviously relate here.
Because he wears a helmet?
I mean, obviously we have 911 for a reason. We have ambulances for a reason. Stuff happens that you can't control. I mean, you could be walking down the street and, a sign could fall and hit you in the head.
Or a Mustang driver could drive right up on the
I'm not saying that you can't control everything, but that I don't think that relieves us of the responsibility of making things safer on things that you can't control. I mean, just because you can't control everything doesn't mean you can say, well, screw it. Just whatever happens, and not have any say.
No. And I mean, I guess that's
unless you're going to use the whole survival of the fittest and weed them out.
Which is a little rough. I mean,
but then you get to the other side of it. Okay, so you're not letting these kids play tackle football.
Okay.
So what are you going to do when these kids go to an open lot someplace and play tackle football with no helmet, with no gear, with no refs, no coaches, no one to tell them?
I don't think you see that much anymore. I mean, I know you can't play at school even because the school's not going to take liability. You are not allowed to play tackle football at school. My God, we all used to play Red Rover. Not anymore, you're not.
Best way to take out somebody.
Right, you're not playing that anymore.
I mean, like even simple games like kick the can. I was a big one whenever I was a kid in the backyard. That's an Irish can. Sorry.
Sure want to
You finish your beer, you're 8 years old, throw the can down and play.
Right.
We didn't
the winner got a potato. I mean, you don't really see that as much anymore as you do. And I guess I'm not sure why.
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because we have electronics and kids are not as active anyway.
That's exactly what I was going with that.
The whole point is, you know what? Okay, this will probably come as a shock to all of you, but I was not an overly active child.
Wouldn't have guessed.
I know it's hard to believe, but we didn't have electronics. Just didn't have anything to do. We had 3 channels on the TV. You had to hold your tongue right and play. You sit outside. Maybe I didn't walk around and stuff, and it still went outside because there's nothing else to do. And now, man, kids, you can just not leave the house.
Oh yeah,
and stay entertained and still be more social than I was when I was my age. I was not social.
But are we sacrificing physical fitness for social intercourse?
Well, I don't know because a lot of the kids are still fairly active if they have a tendency to be. Like me, to make me have physical exercise back then, you had to make me just at least now we have Pokemon Go. That gives you.
We'll talk about that.
But I'm just telling you
later.
I'm telling you that gets people out.
See, I had a great motivator when I was a kid to get outside. It was called my dad and a 3-inch leather belt.
Oh yeah, I could go outside.
Go outside and get lost.
That didn't mean I did anything.
You go outside.
Get home by dark.
Oh no, if Dad caught you sitting outside, you got it for that too. You got shit to do. There's woods over there. Go play. We got set loose on a 140-acre farm with sinkholes in it.
Yeah, 180 acres that we just ran around.
I mean, and I suppose that could be all the more reason to I really hate to push kids into stuff. But for kids to play sports, because especially in inner city, you can't have your 12-year-old kid out run around and the mean streets of Zanesville or what have you. But it could be all the more reason for them to do something after school sports because they don't do that type of stuff anymore. Kids aren't playing kick the can or hide and seek or dodgeball or Red Rover.
Right, and I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you guys know the answer to this, but are contact sports seeing a decline in numbers in lieu of, I don't know, and I'm just going to make this up, and our producer's going to get really upset with me, but like in lieu of the chess team.
Well, I almost mentioned chess a while ago, but part of the thing is there are more options, and there are other ways to be social, and there are other ways to interact. So, back then you had a local high school. It was local football. That's what you had to do. That's the way the community came together. We don't have to do that anymore. And not that it's bad or that no people will, but there are plenty of ways to socialize and interact and be supportive of the community without beating the hell out of each other on Friday nights.
Right. Well,
you could go to the bar, drink, and beat the hell out of each other on Friday night.
Well, it kind of goes directly into, and I wish I could remember his name. I think his first name was Clark. This old guy that my dad knew, that my dad knew that would always tell me and my brother, or my brother and I guess rather.
We're not going to correct your brother.
Yeah, you're Irish, not English. So.
There was two things to do growing up when your dad and I were boys: fight and play football. And your dad hated football. And obviously he was alluding to how my dad fought a lot, but that's what there was in the 50s. It was play football or fight or work.
Right.
And now there's endless things.
And then you run into the other problem too. A few years ago, I went back to my high school and talked to the guy who was my football coach. He was coaching still, and the problem was they went from when I played having 42 people on the team to barely having enough to field a team because it became too cool to do nothing.
I think
nobody was taking shot class anymore.
Right.
Nobody was playing sports. Now, I come from a school where they don't have a soccer team. They don't have a wrestling team. They have football. During the fall, you have football and volleyball, and cross country and golf. During the winter, you have basketball, girls and boys. During the spring, you have baseball, softball, and track. That's it. They don't have anything else. Because you can't get enough people to do anything.
It's like some sports, have power, or some schools have powerlifting, have all these various activities because they're huge schools, and you have active kids, and then you've got schools that aren't so big or the kids aren't so active, and like you say, they only got 3 or 4 sports.
But here's the question: Is it time?
They don't do anything.
Is it time for the schools to evolve and say we'll keep these activities, but at the same time, we need to look at something new? The times have changed. We've all evolved from these football games to Pokemon Go, which we'll do an episode on. But is it time for the school to update and incorporate something maybe with electronics where there's things like that? I don't know.
Well, absolutely. I don't have a problem with that. But see, now you're talking about a whole other series on where our education system's at. Like I don't like our entire system the way it's set up. So, but that is
liberals like to keep people stupid, so
exactly.
That helps.
Exactly. I want to make sure that
in denial.
That's right, stupid.
Keep them smart enough to be stupid. But but there are other schools, my high school size, that don't have that problem. My senior year, we played Smithville in the state playoffs. They showed up with a 70 people dressed football team and a 200-person marching band. Why? Because their sports were part of their phys ed program.
Mm-hmm.
You had to play a sport every season, or be in marching band, or be in choir, because those were your arts and phys ed classes.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything else. They didn't offer photography. They didn't offer pottery. None of that crap. They offered band, choir, sports. That's it.
I like how this Kaufman calls it crap. I do think those things are important. Those people that want my opinion on that. I think those things are absolutely important.
Well,
but you're right; they're not physically demanding at all.
But there are other things. Thank goodness that everybody doesn't have the same interests. So we do have variety, and there's a lot of other things out there. But art and culture. God, that would have been freaking miserable if that had made me be in either marching band or football. I did drop out. That's irrelevant.
And maybe that kind of, they could almost be a call for, and this is kind of changing subjects, and I won't do that very hard, but for like vocational schools. Because you're still going, I went to one my junior, senior year for heating and cooling and refrigeration, and, you're still going to school, but half your day is spent doing something else, whether it's something blue collar like heating, cooling, or carpentry, or it's something like digital media, which, are both equally important things. One's not more important than the other, but it kind of gives high schoolers something to do besides, if you're not that interested in sports or chess.
Are those kids eligible to play in their high school?
Yes.
Are they?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, they are. Yep. Absolutely. Which, if you're still interested, in playing sports and that, but, I didn't play football, I didn't wrestle, I didn't do it, I worked with my dad. But,
still learn discipline.
Oh,
and I'm still physically demanding.
Even more so, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of vocational schools. But, for kids who aren't that interested in that, it's another option, if you want to leave high school with a trade. And you've actually done something besides just, smoke pot all through high school. Well,
they're not mutually exclusive. You can have the trade and smoke pot all.
Oh, well, absolutely. Right, absolutely.
I do know a kid who took vocational agriculture because he was growing his own pot.
Yeah, there you go.
What? People up in the country grow their own pot?
All right, final thoughts. Concussions in sports. Merkel, what do you got?
I don't know. I played 5 years of football and never got a concussion, and we hit like hell. So I guess if you're talking fundamentals first, we took our helmets off and hit each other. So
I guess I personally, for myself, don't have a necessary stance on it. I was in marching band all through high school. I did my physical demanding stuff. I got plenty of concussions in school, however, because I was a jackass. So, but as far as this, I think me personally, we'll wait to see how the sports evolve. I know that as an official, we're constantly watching stuff like this, so it'll be interesting to see.
Head injuries hold a special place in my heart, because actually how my dad died, and I wasn't related to any football or any of that, but I think sports are important if kids want to do them. I think there's nothing wrong with making sure that they're safe. Who's to say that part of my dad's problem wasn't because he took too many bumps in the head whenever he was back in his fighting days, which were his entire life. But, I think it's good to have sports, but I'll kind of agree with Keith there. There's nothing wrong with improving to make sure that they're safe.
Well, and I think Binkley's got a point. There is going to be an evolution over time. There already has been, and we're coming into our entire society right now is more technological, less physical, and it's starting to show in the way things. But I don't know that that's necessarily good or bad. It's just the way it is, and so we're learning to adapt over time. In the meantime, I think we have a responsibility to make it as safe as possible. And, we see 10-year-olds out there banging heads without helmets. We need to stop them because that's not what you do. And they're 10. And, 10 years, you kids, but a lot of that goes back into training. I don't know. I'm kind of torn. Obviously, I love football, so it's hard for me to say, yeah, we shouldn't have it. I can't just say that. I like it. And no, I'm not talking about flag football. I like real tackle.
Real man football.
You guys should see me. I get real manly.
He does absolutely become a man when football season happens.
And so,
go team.
I like to watch the adults play. I watch the kids. I don't like to see kids beat the hell out of each other.
And at least the adults usually get paid for it unless it's college, which I guess now.
Story.
I guess now.
Another topic. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so you guys tell us what you think. Go to our Facebook page. Type your comments in there, and maybe we'll do another show about it. We'll add your comments in and rehash this situation. But until then,
I'm a Scotsman.
I'm the mobster.
I'm the Irishman.
I'm the Buddhist.
And we'll see you next time.